and the Way, written and read by Jana. The rocket was Alan's dad's idea. They watched a documentary one evening about lunar modules and space flights, and Alan's dad said, "Why don't you build a spacecraft, son? I have a huge cardboard box that arrived with the fridge last week. It is taking up space in the garage. You can do what you want with it." And so the next day in the morning the giant box appeared in Alan's room, and Alan got busy. First he drew some plans. Then he drew some more plans. Then he ate his lunch. It seemed to take ages, and he couldn't wait to get back to work. Finally, after finishing his piece, he ran back to his room and he started the construction process. First he created the body of the rocket, simply by removing whatever loose bits of card were hanging off the main box. Next, the tricky bit. He got his dad to help twist the nose cone out of a remaining piece of card, and he taped it to the top. He made a hatch to get in and added a couple of cushion seats. Then he made a dashboard control panel with a large red button made of a plastic bottle top. The everything button, a simple and innovative way of operating spacecrafts. One button to begin the liftoff, to start landing, to make calls, and to turn the air conditioning on. Then he attached a steering wheel made out of a frisbee and some empty plastic bottles for the engines. In the end, he made himself a spacesuit out of more plastic bottles and an oversized t-shirt from Dad. He even designed a breathing machine to survive in all those non-atmospheres out there. Empty juice boxes and odds and ends that would normally be thrown away suddenly had a great purpose. Alan remembered that an alien blaster is essential in case he encountered any dangerous species, so he modified a Wild West pistol to work in the vacuum of space. When he had finished, he wrapped his rocket in tinfoil to make it look more rockety, and he cut out some round windows to be able to see where he's flying. There were sure to be great views of down here from up there. Finally, Alan's rocket was finished and ready for takeoff. He wrapped the last bit of tinfoil around the nose cone for extra coolness and went to the kitchen to gather the final supplies. He filled his backpack with bananas, apples, carrots, popcorn, comic books in case he got bored. He put his Ted on the co-pilot's seat and went to kiss his parents goodbye. "Mom, I'm going off to space." "Great! Get some cheese when you fly past the moon. We ran out," said Mum without taking her eyes off her ironing. "Dad, I'm going off to space."
"Cool. Could you take your sisters?"
said Dad without taking his eyes off his computer. Alan thought about it for a moment. His sisters were busy taking their dolls for ice cream, though, and there wasn't much space in the rocket anyway, so Alan decided to leave them, as he was not sure that space was the right place for girls. He opened the window in his room, slipped into his spacesuit, hung his breathing apparatus around his neck, and entered the rocket. "Ready?" he asked Ted. Ted was born ready. So was Alan. He double-checked his backpack for supplies, checked his passport was in his pocket, and then he pressed the big red everything button. For a moment nothing happened. Then the rocket shook, rattled, and took off through the open window straight into the rolling sky. "It works!" cheered Alan, and he looked out of the rocket window. Within a few seconds the spacecraft ripped through the duvet of soft grey rain clouds, and Alan could see the curvature of the earth disappear from his view as the rocket blasted on up and up. Soon he was diving into the darkness of the universe, strewn with sparkling stars. "Where to, Ted? Shall we take it one planet at a time?" Ted suggested Mercury first, as he liked warm places. and with one spin of the steering wheel, Alan pointed the nose cone of the rocket towards the sun. Quickly the rocket approached the small grey planet, where it landed with a bump on the crisp surface. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, Ted. It's super hot out there. You man the controls, and I will go out to explore, said Alan. And with that he put on some white sunscreen, dark sunglasses, attached his breathing machine, and climbed carefully out of the rocket hatch. Alan's feet landed safely on the surface. The planet looked kind of boring, so he picked up some samples and was ready to get back into the rocket, when he stepped into a puddle. That's odd, he thought. Everybody knew there was no atmosphere and no water on Mercury, so there is no way there could be any puddles. He bent down to have a closer look, and noticed it was some kind of a thicker substance with a rainbowy metallic glow to it, highly unusual. "Ouch!" said the puddle in a voice that made Alan jump. It took him a few moments to drift back down. With Mercury's weak gravitational field, this was not too unusual. "Watch where you're going," said the puddle. Alan inspected it more closely to see the puddle had several eyes and a mouth, and a very bad temper. "I'm Alan," he introduced himself. "Who are you?" He was beginning to be a bit nervous. Mercury was really hot, and even though his rocket was protected with tinfoil, he didn't want to risk the cardboard catching fire or himself getting a sunburn. "You just landed your rocket in my front yard and stuck your foot in my face, mate," said the puddle. Alan looked around for any signs of a yard, and then repeated his line of questioning. "Who are you, and what are you doing here?" For a moment nothing happened. "My name is Alan, and I'm with Nala." He thought that he sounded cool and very adult. "Name is Lump," grumbled the puddle. "I'm waiting for the sunset. It's the only time I can really do anything. It's too hot during the day. I always melt. And it's too cold during the night, so I always freeze. But during sunset and sunrise, it's perfect. I always get a good while of being just the right consistency, just until the sun disappears over the horizon. I'm going to propose to my girlfriend this sunset. We have a date over there by that rock." Alan wandered over, and just a few meters away he indeed found another metallic-looking paddle. He was careful not to step in it. "Hi, honey," the lady puddle greeted him. "I heard you talking to Lump over there. How nice of you to come visit. We didn't quite make it to our rendezvous in the morning. Quite unfortunate, isn't it? But at least we can talk. Can't we, honey?" She raised her voice and looked towards her partner. Alan wondered why she is interested in honey. Not waiting for any reply, she continued. "You must be from the Earth. Takes ages for the sun to go down here. The gravitational lock causes our planet to rotate quite slow, you see. But we see our Earth spin like a whirlwind. Would you like to stay for dinner, love?" Alan remembered that one day on Mercury takes an unbelievable 176 Earth days, and decided to refuse the generous offer. He thanked both puddles for being so accommodating, and bounded back to his rocket. The heat was scorching, and he didn't want to risk any technical difficulties. Before he could get to the ship, though, he saw Ted popping out of the entrance hatch in a state of panic. "What now?" thought Alan, but he soon found out what had happened. The inside of the rocket was hot like a black car in the midday summer sun, and full of popcorn. Oh no! The secret stash of emergency ration popcorn kernels were exploding out of his bag and filling up the entire rocket. Alan waded his way to the everything button, placed Ted in the pile of popcorn where he thought the co-pilot's seat might be, and pressed the red bottle top. "Ted, I just can't leave you anywhere," said Alan. This was more than enough adventure for one planet. "Let's get out of here before we catch fire," said Alan, and he strapped himself into his seat. There was a loud blast, and the rocket lifted off the scorching planet and drifted out into space. "Well," Alan said, checking his dashboard computer, "it is exactly 98 days before the sun sets on Hump and his fiancée-to-be. I'm glad we live on Earth, Ted, aren't you?" Ted was silent. "But it's not the time to go home yet, so where to next?" Ted again said nothing, so Alan steered the nose of the rocket towards the large yellow round shape right ahead of them. "To Venus. Ready or not, here we come."